Today we're going to discuss the response argument essay for English 112. The purpose of this assignment is to refine your research skills, to target a specific text in the textbook, and respond by agreeing or disagreeing. So you got to do one or the other. It's going to strengthen critical thinking skills, argumentative composition skills, and it's also going to prepare you for researching subjects in other disciplines. So this is a research paper. I do expect there to be a lot of research in the body paragraphs, at least one quote, paraphrase, some sort of research in each body paragraph. So that's important. So make sure you do that legwork before you start to write. This is not a paper you're going to be able to throw together the night before. So some goals, you're going to create a response argument essay of at least 5 full pages. That doesn't mean 4.5. So make sure, you fill up that 5th page. No more than 7 full pages. Once you kind of get to 7, you're kind of rambling at that point. So you want to sort of be concise. The required works cited page does not count towards that length. So that, your essay will be at least 5 full pages, and then maybe the 6th page might be that works cited page. You're going to use 8th edition MLA formatting. So that's, the 12 font, double space, 1-inch margins, all that good stuff. So make sure you follow that strictly. Apply basic composition skills. So this is topic, sentence, thesis statements, organization, all of that. And please remember to underline your thesis statement in the rough draft and in the final paper. Grammar, things, all of those kind of parts of the essay are important here. So you're going to have at least 4 credible sources using correct attribution and in-text citations. So that means every time you use a quote or paraphrase in your essay, you need to have a in-text citation, which usually means the author's last name and page number. An in-text citation is also called parenthetical citation sometimes. You can use more sources than the 4, but don't go over 10 because then it just gets redundant. This isn't that long of a research paper, so you don't need more than 10. One source must come from an opposing perspective. So that means that the perspective that is against yours. That doesn't necessarily mean it's against the article from the textbook. It means it's against yours. So the textbook text, if it's against yours, that could be the opposing perspective. The reading from the They Say, I Say textbook does count as one of the 4 required sources and is required to be included in your works cited page. So I do expect that essay that you picked from the textbook to be cited and put into your works cited page. Do not just Google these sources. They must come from the Wake Tech databases. So I'm going to show you how to do that, but you'll have to get on the library website for Wake Tech to do that. Understand and apply standard written English. Use appropriate vocabulary. Avoid mechanical grammar errors. So, of course, grammar is important, especially if you make major grammatical errors such as comma splices, run-ons, which is a fused sentence as well, or fragments, those kind of things. Apply knowledge of ethos, logos, and pathos, and beware of unfair claims or statements. What I mean by that is don't make assumptions, don't use generalizations or stereotypes. Just be careful to back up your statements. If you say many people believe something, well, then you need to have evidence that backs that up. Apply classical or Rogerian style argument, and whichever one you choose, make sure it's clear in your title. I give an example there. Focus on the textbook throughout the entire paper. So that that's your focus here. So don't go on a tangent about personal perspective. Remember, your personal story should not be in a research paper, and incorporate at least one quote or paraphrase in every body paragraph. So what are you writing about? Well, you're responding. You're agreeing or disagreeing. You're not going to do both. To a reading or an article from your They Say, I Say textbook. There's going to be choices on your prompt. I change them every semester, so I'm not going to talk about them here. But so check Blackboard in your prompt for that. But you're going to use a logical argument that adds to the conversation of that topic. You're not just going to summarize. That's a big thing, okay? If you're just regurgitating what the author said, that's not what I want. You should be saying what the author says, but then saying, either adding to it, saying why it's wrong or why it's correct, and giving more information to back it up. Since you're responding to an argument, you should continue to refer back to the reading and article throughout the entire essay. Either way, you must take a side. If you feel strongly about your side, the classical approach is usually the best choice. However, if you pick a side but still perceive considerable validation in the opposing view, the Rogerian approach is usually the best choice. So a lot of times either one will fit your topic. It's just kind of the way that you want to approach your argument. And the word choice, that's a big thing. Are you going to be really firm and direct and strong about your argument? Or are you going to be more open-minded and kind of open up a conversation? Again, I'm not going to write the text that you're going to choose from here because I change them per semester. But remember, they are on the prompt for the essay 1. So check those out. You do have to write on one of the texts that I give you. You don't get to choose any of them. The thesis. So first of all, the title and the author of the essay should be included in your underlined thesis. The title should be in quotation marks because it's an essay or an article. The reader should also clearly understand your stance, and if it is the same, agree, or different, disagree, as they say, I say, author stance, without using first person in the thesis. So basically, I should know whether you're agreeing or disagreeing, what author, what title you're writing about, and why. You should include specifics about why you disagree or agree, which should add, not repeat, to the text reasons. The thesis is located at the end of the introduction. Unlike in 111, your thesis can be more than one sentence. I usually say try not to go over 2, 3 is sort of max. More than that is really sort of rare that it's necessary if you're using a concise sentence. Excuse me. So try to stick around, two-ish sentences for the thesis. And 1 is fine as well, but remember to place it at the end of the thesis. At the end of the introduction. Don't just Google your research. You're required to use database articles from the Wapetech Library website and the TSISSA for this assignment. One database should be from the opposing view. Appeal to authorities and experts without committing argument fallacy. So make sure you're getting research from credible sources, not fake news, right? That these people who are writing the essays or research that you're choosing should be experts in the field in which they're writing about. So make sure that you do some research on who they are and what's their bias or motivation for writing the essay. Here's some suggested steps. So first, you need to pick from the list of TSS texts that are in the prompt. You will need to read and analyze the text. Then you will find research to provide further evidence. That's going to take some time. That's not going to be something you can do in a day or two. You'll then respond to the text by agreeing or disagreeing. So you kind of have to find your reasoning. Like, why am I disagreeing or why am I agreeing? So, try to find validity in their statements. Maybe you feel like they're inaccurate or accurate, logical, inconsistent, consistent, irrelevant, or out of date or current. Try to think about those things. Then you're going to write a proposal, which you're going to turn in, and you're going to explain your intentions for your essay. The guidelines for this are going to be very strict, and I'm going to provide them. So your proposal will be approved or denied. So I'm going to grade it, and I'm going to say, hey, your proposal's approved, but you need to fix this, or no, it's perfect, or oh no, this is totally wrong, you need to redo it. So that's your first step. You must complete a proposal. You must get your topic approved. So if you don't turn in a proposal by the due date and you get a 0 on it, that 0 will stay, but you still need to get approval. Okay, usually through email. In other words, you must have your topic approved before the rough draft due date. Then there's going to be a rough draft. You're going to be required to write and turn in a rough draft. In addition to underlining your thesis, please label where your introduction points and counterargument begins. That will make it easier for your peer. The final essay will not include these labels, but they are necessary for the peer class edit. Except for the underlining thesis. You're going to underline your thesis in the final essay. This is a big slide. So this is the classical and Rogerian arguments. This is kind of like an outline. So if you've never written a argumentative essay before, this will help you. The one thing I want you to remember, though, is that this diagram sort of looks like these sections are paragraphs, but they're not. They're sections, okay? So let's focus on the classical part on the left. So here we have the introduction, we have the statement of background, and the preposition. And that's all the introduction. So it looks like it's 3 paragraphs. And the introduction can be 3 paragraphs, but it could also be 1. It really depends on your topic. So, you know, as long as you're kind of covering all this information in your paragraph, it depends on how long it will be. Either way, though, you're going to have the thesis at the end. So whether your introduction is 1 paragraph or 3, your thesis goes at the end. Usually it's not more than 3, guys. So let's stick between 1 and 3. Then the next section here is the proof. Now remember, this is a section. This is going to be the longest part of your essay. So it's going to be much more than 1 paragraph. It's going to be several paragraphs. This is your points, okay? So you're going to include research in every body paragraph here. You're going to be firm. You're going to have a topic sentence. You're going to, have evidence throughout. Then when you're done with your points, you're going to have a counter argument. This is where you're going to anticipate and refute opposing arguments. This is also going to have research. This is where you say the opposing viewpoints and you refute it. You explain why they're wrong. And then usually the conclusion's 1 paragraph at the end there. So Rogerian is similar, but you'll notice the counter argument's a lot sooner. So here you have the introduction. Again, you can have 1 paragraph, you can have 2, you can even have 3. The thesis goes at the end for the intro. Then, right after the thesis is where you put your counter-argument, which is the summary of opposing views and the statement of understanding here. I remember research throughout, topic sentences, all that. Then it goes into the statement of your position, statement of context, which is your points. This is the majority of your paper. Again, research is needed and expected in every body paragraph. And then you have that statement of benefits, which is like the conclusion. This might help you. This is a pre-writing questions to ask yourself when you find your reading or your whatever you're going to write about. So why does this reading need further research? If you can't answer that, then you're really going to get stumped really quickly when you start to research and when you start to make your own points, because you might end up just summarizing. So you want to be able to answer that. Can I find enough relevant research on this topic? Check the databases before you commit to a topic. That's important because sometimes people say they can't find information on the databases on a topic. That's not necessarily true, but if you feel like you can't, then you should move on to another topic, another they say, I say text. Why is this topic still an issue, problem, or argument? This is an argumentative paper, so there should be an argument that you're solving here or that you're analyzing. How and what can I add to the reading I choose? If you have nothing to add, then this is not a good choice, okay? So remember, you have to add. Will I agree or disagree? We're not going to have both. We're going to do agree or disagree. So do one or the other. What does the author fail to make clear in his or her reading? How can I clear it up? So maybe there's some sort of gaps that you feel like you would like to elaborate on. And what does the author do very well? How can I add to it? When was the reading written? What is the author's background? That might, show some bias. That might show, if it's dated. That's going to be an argument that you might make. And which type of argument fits my claims best? So is that the Rogerian or the classical?